Surf's up, dudes. I'm MisterSaintAmant, and we're gonna draw surfing poses.
Oh, chubbicorn.
Alright, so we're going to start with just a standard surfing pose. The person is going to be crouching. So you see I drew the head, the gesture line, and then we're adding the legs. And then I'll add the arms. And some board shorts, and then the surfboard. And then a little bit of spray coming out the back of the surfboard. And then just cleaning up some of those lines, making them more substantial. And then our next pose will be what's called a tail slide. So the surfer is going to be kind of kicking out the tail of the board, the back of the board. So notice I have that kind of twisting gesture line. So her back is turning one way while her hips are turning another way. She kind of twists her hips, and then drawing the arms out as she balances herself. And then her thighs are foreshortened. They're turning away from us. And then there's the center line of the board, and that will help me draw the feet. So the feet are planted along the center of the board. And then there is the shape of the board. And then we'll draw some spray and some white water behind her. And then just cleaning up some of those extra lines there. Establishing her bathing suit, ear, hair. Just some solid lines there, a little bit of cleanup. I had to redraw the arm because I drew it a little bit too long. All right, next pose will be guys sitting on a board, just waiting for the swell to come. So the gesture line, notice I built a torso on top of that gesture line. There's the center line of the board, and that will allow me to draw the legs on either side. Although the leg on the far side will be foreshortened. So you'll see a little bit of the knee once I draw this arm in. Establishing the ear, the jawline, and then the shape of the board first, just so I can decide on how far that other leg will go over the edge. And the board is the back end of the board is submerged in water, and then there's the other leg foreshortened on the other side there. And then might as well draw maybe a little horizon line just to show these sitting in the water there. All right, this next one is paddling out. So she will be paddling toward some waves. And drew the gesture line. Now I'm just building the arms. I put the torso, and her arms are paddling. And then her legs. Her body's kind of foreshortened because it's turning away from us. Just cleaning up some of the sketchy lines. Sorry, the way I draw is really annoying. My thumb is hiding most of what's happening, but I apologize for that. But I'm just drawing the hair, getting some of the lines, and then now drawing her surfboard and her suit. And there's going to be a little bit of a trailing wake of water behind her board as she moves through the water. And we're done. All right, next I'm going to draw a snap. So you see that torso built on top of the gesture line. And then the arm is foreshortened towards us, and the other arm is up and kind of turning away from us. So this requires a really dramatic turning of the board. You kick the tail out and create a big fan of water, using the momentum from dropping down into the wave to push the water out and then turn back into the wave to ride it some more. So this guy has a rash guard and shorts on, and then you can see the center line of the board. I find that to be easy to draw a surfboard or make it easier. Surfboards are complex shapes, so by drawing that center line first, you can at least know how to build the sides. So like one side is foreshortened, turning away from us, the other side's closer. Then some water, and then we're done. All right, this last one is, this is a longboarder just kind of coming up to the end of the ride, maybe coming back from the whitewater. So like, you know, I don't know, maybe she may be able to drop back in, but the way her hand is on, I'm gonna draw her hand on the nose of the board right here. So her arm is behind the board, coming forward there, and then the other arm is just out for balance. But the angle of this board shows that she's pretty much at the end of her ride and just may have come back over the wave to settle down and maybe paddle for something else. So you can see it's more of a little finishing pose here. And a little bit of water where the board is submerged, and then some background white water behind her. A little sunset for that guy waiting. All right, moving on to the next page. So I used a different camera on this, so the first 4 poses might be a little washed out. This is just another standard pose, surfer coming straight towards us. So the surfboard is heavily foreshortened. And you notice I drew the gesture line and built that torso on top of the gesture line. And while I'm drawing him, I will read you a surf fact. Did you know surfing is one of the oldest sports on Earth? In fact, they found 5,000-year-old stone carvings in Peru that show people surfing. So it's been around for a while. All right, moving on to surfer carving. So just turning into the wave, like about to change direction and drop down into the wave for some speed. But she is going to be kind of near the top of the curl. And then she has one arm out for balance and one arm down and forward. And then one leg that's bent behind the other. And so in this case, the board is facing us. So we just see the front of the board coming up, and we don't really see the length at all. Just the curve of that nose of the board. And that's it for that one. This one is going to be a barrel ride, and you can see that gesture line is really dramatic because the photo that I worked with, I found images online for these poses, it was like a fisheye lens. And so you're going to see a large head, very arched torso, as you can see there, and short legs. And the arms are going to appear, or his arm is going to appear longer there, just because it's a bit of a distortion from the camera lens. And the reason for that is to show both the top, side, and bottom of the curl of that wave. So there's this surfboard. I drew that center line first, and then I'm drawing several curves that overlap each other to show the tube there, the barrel, the wave curling all around and over this guy. Okay, next one is going to be a cutback. So this is actually one of the thumbnail drawing of the girl that you saw on the beginning of this video, or when you clicked on this video. So you can see how her torso is horizontal because most of her weight is in her back leg, and she has momentum coming up from the speed of the drop when she dropped in. And now she is cutting back to go further down into the wave. And so her hips are twisted. You can see one arm is out for balance. There's the board there. And then I'm going to draw some spray coming off the board and cleaning up that forearm that's coming forward there, and just to reestablish the overlap. Alright, this next one is another barrel ride. Just a different pose, more of a crouch on this one. You can see that knee is dropped down. And then we'll have a very foreshortened calf, and you can see that foot way back there. And then we'll have, this time he's reaching out to touch the water, and then the other arm is down for balance. So there's a center line of, actually no, it's not the center line, it's a curl of the wave right there. You can see it curling behind him and over him. For this one, I didn't draw the center line, I just kind of winged it. I used the curl of the wave to define the side closest to us of that board, and then just added the other side there. So I'm just cleaning up the work, just erasing some of those lines there, and then reestablishing the correct lines. So there's our barrel ride. And then for this next one, it will be a longboarding pose. This is called a hang 5, when you get just 1 foot over the edge of the front of the board. A hang 10 or a hang 5 are pretty tricky to do. You have to have good stability and balance. So you notice I'm drawing the leg length there. I was kind of measuring out from the hip to the knee is the same length as from the knee to the ankle. So that's why I did those measurements there, just to test myself. And then the other leg is bent back behind the straight leg. So she is carefully assessing. You have to understand or feel confident about the stability of the board and the wave in order to, get at least 1 foot over the edge. And so she's holding her arms out for balance. And then we have the board there. So you see the toes are almost up to the edge. The board is going upward, and you can see the spray of water on the side, and both sides actually. And then her suit. And then I will add just a couple more wave details. So that's like the crest of the wave, and then where the board is carving through it. And this last pose is another barrel ride. This one is a little more dynamic. This is actually from another one from the cover, the thumbnail image. When you click on the video. So you can see he's crouching low into this one to get to duck underneath it. It's not as high of an overhead as the others were. And so he's crouching like that. You see one arm coming down in the front, and then the other arm, I'll draw in a minute here, will be coming up behind his head, foreshortened. The upper arm is foreshortened, and the forearm is also foreshortened facing us. So we got the pose, and then again, this one I will use the curve of the barrel to define one side of the board. And so that just gives you a nice sense of how that board really carves into the water. And then I'm just curling the wave up and around, and also adding the crest at the top so the water's splashing over the surfer. And we are all set. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.